I think it's important to recognize that the further you as a leader get away from the day-to-day operations, meaning you can't be in the pizza shop or in the restaurant or any retail location, hour by hour, shift by shift, day by day, week by week. You want that continuity. Your continuity is through your workforce. Okay? They're the ones that ultimately are the eyes, and they're the ones that are the ears behind what's happening. And quite frankly, they're really um, a good testing ground for innovation and to make sure that you're not missing anything in terms of ways that you can improve both the guest experience as well as the product. And so for us, it started off with just text message. I know it sounds very basic, but we have a text message only platform both for customers and employees. Obviously, every employee has my cell phone number, which may seem rare. We have 1,200 employees, but the reality is, when you give people an opportunity to connect with you directly, you'd be surprised at how well they treat you as a result of that. Meaning, if you treat people with the respect and the dignity and the trust that here's my cell phone number, call me whenever you want, most people actually respect that and they don't call you, past midnight, even though I have fun text conversations from sometimes midnight to 2 a.m. on a Friday or Saturday when people aren't working in the shops. But they respect, your privacy, they respect your time. And it's just another way to say, if you need me, I'm here, use it as you see fit. And then we have a company text line that we call the pizza plug that any of our workers can text, sort of 24/7. And we, on the other end, have a GX tech line that services both our employees and our customers. We're available to communicate back and forth. And so we send out, as you can imagine, like a ton of random messages, especially through the thick of COVID and the pandemic, just checking in, saying hi, video, voice, text copy. And there's a lot of two-way communication. And I jump into that text line all the time as sort of a quote unquote like guest experience worker. And I communicate both with our customers and our employees to make sure that, I'm here doing the work and that I'm incredibly accessible. So that's like a basic way of just how do you improve the communication so that if someone has an idea or you want to get to all 1,200 of your workforce instantly, like we have a system that supports that. And we developed, robust data sets around the themes that we're hearing. And then it's making sure that we can get in front of and address the entire company at least once a quarter. I prefer once a month, and I prefer more than that on a shop by shop basis, but make sure that we're presenting, hey, here are the sort of 10 themes that we've heard from you all vis-a-vis text message over the last 90 days. And here's how we're addressing each one of them. And what's interesting is that when we initially started this, it was often one-way dialogue, and it quickly became two-way and got to a point where I would actually let our workers debate whether or not we rolled out policy X or policy Y, or we'd say, hey, our benefits budget for this year is $2.5 million. Like, if you could choose to spend that $2.5 million, how and where would you spend it? And let them debate what's the most important to them, prioritize it. What's funny is that 9 times out of 10, they are making the same exact decision that you would make. And that 1 time out of 10 that they don't, it's a better decision than you would make. The only difference is they feel incredibly invested in that entire process because you're including them in the decision making. It's not that hard, right? It doesn't take that much more time to do it. You're just soliciting feedback and making sure that people understand there are still constraints to running a business. Our budget's not unlimited, right? We can't do everything that you want all the time. Here's what we can do. Here's where it comes out of the budget. Here's how it impacts the financials. You tell us how you'd like us to spend it. So that's just a good example of a way that you can really close the loop and make sure that the voices of your workers are truly being heard across everything that you give to them, and then everything that influences company decisions about the number of locations that you think is appropriate for growth, right? Where you should ultimately be growing, what type of pizzas or product innovation or ingredients should you be serving. And the nice part about our business is that there's nothing like overtly technical or complicated, right? You could walk into a pizza shop tomorrow and probably give me 10 different ideas that you have in ways that we could improve or change it. And so it makes it very human where everyone can influence and interact. And then I think on top of that sits what we call, FAM and shop level councils, right? Well, we'll have specific groups of people based on performance. Number one, they have to self-select from their peer group. But number two, based on performance, that also helps vet these ideas and talks more in roundtable formats around how the company can be doing a better job. And we address a lot of issues around, responses to crisis or, what we should be doing in terms of modifying the training or even how we think about wage increases and when. And so I think that's also like sort of a second line of defense of making sure there's a more formal and structuralized process for people to give feedback and weigh in. And also, it's a rite of passage to sit on those leadership councils and feel like you're very involved because we're all in them, and you get a lot of time with me, a lot of time with the management of the company. So that's another way I think that can be very helpful. So these are very basic, tactical, and sometimes I get overly tactical and less strategic, of just ways that you can make sure that that two-way conversation is constantly happening. You're getting all of the best thinking, and you're allowing your workforce to weigh in on critical company decisions.